Hey everybody, this is Miss Moran and welcome to Unit 9. This is video 1 and we're going to be working on our distance and midpoint formulas. You may find this to be a little bit of a review, so just go ahead and follow along as much as you need to and make sure that you understand the concepts of distance and midpoint by the time you finish the video. Okay, so I'm going to begin with a little bit of what the distance formula is, and then I'm going to present directly what the distance formula is, and then I'll show you two examples in which we'll use it. But our distance formula is meant to find the distance between any two ordered pairs. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pick two ordered pairs, starting with the origin, and then I'm going to pick this point A, or distance, a horizontal distance A, and the vertical distance B. Boy, oh boy. So I have this distance that I'm trying to find between 0, 0 and A, comma, B. Well, what I have is I have a change in my horizontal distance, or in my horizontal direction, and I have a change in my vertical direction. And in essence, I actually form a right triangle where A is the distance between the origin and the horizontal change, and B is the length of the vertical change. Well, if I'm trying to find the length or the distance between these two ordered pairs, then I'm actually finding the hypotenuse of a right triangle with a base of A and a height of B. Well, to do that, I would do A squared plus B squared, and that would equal my hypotenuse squared, or the distance. I'm going to call it D. And to find the distance, I would therefore take the square root of both sides, and I would say the distance is equal to A squared plus B squared. Well, what if it wasn't at the origin? Well, then I would simply look for the change, and change is measured by using subtraction. We find the difference. So that's where the distance formula comes from. So my distance will equal the square root, just like we have above here, to find the hypotenuse of a right triangle where the x values change, and I'm squaring it, plus the change in the y values. So I'm using the idea of the horizontal change and the vertical change kind of like I would to find the hypotenuse of a right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to go ahead with two quick examples. My first one gives us the ordered pairs 4, -3 and 2, 1. Now I'm going to make a quick sketch of these, but we can of course just go ahead and use our distance formula, but it's kind of nice to know where it comes from. So my first ordered pair 4, -3 will go ahead and plot right here, and my second ordered pair 2, 1 will plot right here. So I notice that I'm going to have a horizontal and a vertical change between these 2 points, and what I'm essentially looking for is my hypotenuse, the distance between those 2 points. Alright, so here's the calculations that we're going to use. I can use a distance formula where D equals the square root. It doesn't matter which point is which because I'm looking for the difference between them. So the difference in one direction is not any different than the difference in the other direction. So if I go x's 4 minus 2 squared plus the y's -3 minus 1 squared. Well, this leaves me with the square root of 2 squared plus -4 squared, which is the square root of 4 plus 16, or the square root of 20, which I can simplify to 2 square root of 5. And that is the distance, or the length of the hypotenuse, but the distance between those two ordered pairs. Let's try one more. I'll squeeze it in here. My next ordered pair that I'm going to present to you, whoops, sorry about that. The next one we're going to do is going to be 3, 4 and -1, -5. I'm not going to draw the graph for you, but you can imagine where these 2 points are located. One is in the third quadrant and one is in the first quadrant, and I can draw a right triangle representing the change vertically and horizontally. So if I just go ahead and present the distance formula to you here, I will have 3 minus a -1 squared plus 4 minus a -5 squared. Well, this results in the square root of 4 squared plus 9 squared, which is the square root of 16 plus 36, or plus 81, excuse me. Let's get rid of that. Plus 81, which is the square root of 97, which I don't know to have any perfect squares within it, so we'll be able to leave this one as just the square root of 97. All right, let's try the midpoint formula. Now my midpoint formula is essentially, or is exactly, finding the middle of 2 points if they were both, if they were on the same segment. I would like to find the middle of them. Well, the middle of any two numbers is something known as the average, or the mean. And if I'm looking at that, I don't really want to make it any more complicated than that. So I'm going to be given two ordered pairs, x1, y1, and x2, y2. And if I want to find the middle, I will add the x's and divide by 2. That's the middle of those two numbers. And I will add the y's and divide by 2. What's important is that my answer results in a point because it is a midpoint. So when I'm adding them, I'm getting the x value that represents the halfway distance and the y value that represents a halfway distance, or a midpoint. So let's go ahead and use, we'll use the same ordered pairs we did on the previous problems. I have 4, -3 for my first example, and 2, 1. And I'd like to find the middle of these 2 points. So I will add 4 plus 2 and divide by 2, and -3 plus 1 and divide by 2. So simply this becomes 6 divided by 2 is 3, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. So my middle of these two ordered pairs is 3, -1. One more example of those. 3, 4, and we have -1, -5. So I will add them up. So 3 plus a -1 divided by 2, and 4 plus a -5 divided by 2. And this will result in 2 divided by 2, or 1, and -1 divided by 2, or -1/2. And those are the midpoints. So your homework is to take a look at page 193 and try these quick problems. They shouldn't take you very long to do. You also need to log into the Schoology class and take the quiz that's titled Entrance Slip 1/2. It can be found in the materials folder of our Unit 9 class, the section. And it's very important that you make sure you watch both videos 1 and 2. This was video 1. There is another video on circles that you need to take a look at before you before you take that entrance slip, just to be prepared. And make sure that you feel confident in finding the distance or midpoint of any 2 points.